benches. You can sit on them, you can be hyped about them, but most people would agree that they're not very special. They're just benches. Unless you're playing Hollow Knight! Benches in Hollow Knight are magical in the most mental way possible. They're used to create a save point where you can respawn if you die or quit the game, and you'll also get all your health back, in addition that the map will be updated. Now, that may sound very normal and non-interesting to you, but the gameplay of Hollow Knight can be tough and painful. From the tight platforming in Queen's Gardens to the 50th retry on this motherf. And if you die, you'll have to find your way all the way back and could possibly lose all of your millions of geo. But even when all your hope is lost, there it is, a bench. Everything you've done to this point is now saved. Your map is updated and then that relaxing music plays. You can just take a breather and relax for a moment. Because of all that intense gameplay, it just makes finding these benches so much more special. But some benches just straight up suck, and some are so amazing and useful. So we are going to do something that nobody has ever done. We are gonna rank all the benches in Hollow Knight to find out what the definition of a perfect bench is, and to find out which ones we should burn. I'm going to rank them on 2 factors. Factor 1 is the location in Hollow Nest. How useful is it? Is it next to a boss so that you can retry that boss immediately after dying? Is it next to a shop so that you can try that cool charm you bought right away? Or is it in the depths of hell? Factor 2 is the aesthetic. Some benches are the most beautiful locations in the game, and that's just nice to look at while you're taking a breather. I mean, you don't want to be looking at this. I will give both of these factors a score between 1 and 10, giving a maximum possible score of 20. So without further ado, let's get ranking. Starting with the bottom 10. Now these benches look like my toilet after an evening of Chinese and have the usefulness of a 5-minute craft life hack. Now there are 51 benches in total. Yes, I actually ranked 51 suitable pieces of material in an indie game called Hollow Knight, and I actually spent hours ranking them to the best of my abilities. Please subscribe. And naturally, one of these 51 is the worst and has to be at the bottom of the list. And oh boy, was that choice easy. Number 51. Beast's Den bench. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? First of all, what the fuck? This bench is the definition of useless. If you search the word useless in the English dictionary, you see this. This bench is literally right at the exit of Beast's Den. So why would I sit on this bench if I can just leave? Yes, the Dreamer is right here. And yes, this bench is right next to it. But there is no boss fight. And if you die for whatever reason before reaching the Dreamer, it is still useless. Because you 1, have not reached the bench yet because it's at the end. And 2, you respawn here anyways. So it doesn't fucking matter. Oh, and don't get me started on the aesthetic of this bench. Holy shit. Number 50. Pantheon 5 bench. You know this place, I was here in my last video, but it's not this bench that we're talking about. It's probably a bench some of you have never even seen. And that's a good thing. This spiky looking ass. You get here by falling off the right side of Pantheon 5. And guess what? You just wasted your time. There's a reason I do my videos here and not here. Because this is the bench you're gonna use for charm switching. Now here you say, but what if I'm doing Pantheon 5 and I want to switch my charm somewhere close by? First of all, if you thought that, you definitely haven't reached Pantheon 5 yet. You suck. Because before being able to get here, you need to have beaten all the other 4, with basically all the bosses in them. Guess what? Pantheon 5 has the same bosses. You already know what charms you want to use. You never need to switch anymore. You've basically perfected every boss. So why would I ever switch my charms here for Pantheon 5? And just listen to this. That's the sound of the Pantheon 5 Satan. A sound I would rather not hear. Number 49. Lemaire bench. Lemaire. This is the last bench that actually pisses me off. You know how this bench is the definition of useless? Well, if you turn the page, you'll see the definition of dog water, because that's what this bench is. This one is even more useless than the 2 before, and it's only saved by a little bit of aesthetic, because the only reason to be here is for the flower quest. You only need to take a single hit of damage and you're done. But dying is a fast way to get back, and if you sit on a bench, you can immediately retry. You want to do this without a full soul bar? You monkey brain? But the main reason this bench is just so horse doo-doo is because the main reason enemies respawn in this game is if you sit on a bench. In a challenge where you can't take damage, this is crucial because on each new attempt there will be less and less enemies, and the only obstacle left for clearing this challenge will be your own dog water skill level. But every time you sit on this bench, everything will respawn, everything will hurt, but you can ease the pain by subscribing. Number 48, Crossroads Hot Spring Bench. It's pretty surprising how low this one is. However, think about it. You'll get access to this bench at the beginning of the game, so you have no charms. And the next bench is just a few rooms away. When you do have charms eventually, I can guarantee you have never visited the spot ever again in your life. Bruh. And it looks bland anyway. So, number 47, the Prank Bench. Yes, I know this bench is very close to the bench made by Satan himself. But the moment itself was pretty funny, where everyone was like, please sit down. So that does give it some aesthetic points, I guess. Plus you are actually required to sit on this bench to finish the game. So it's not totally useless, but still a low score because it brings you to this place. Number 46, Tram. Am I the only one that actually got to the resting grounds via the tram in their first playthrough? Was I stupid? Don't answer that, please. But yeah, a very cool, cozy aesthetic, but very, very useless. Number 45, Tram number 2. Yeah, I don't know. The Ancient Basin Tram is better because it can go to 3 locations, I guess. Why am I ranking benches? Number 44, Nailmaster Sheo Bench. It really pains me to put this one so low, but other than the great aesthetic this bench provides, it's so useless. You only come here for the nail art and never come back. Like, they even made the whole safe path back, so there's no risk leaving this place. So, sadly, a number 44 spot for this bench. Number 43, Pleasure House Bench. First, I want to give this bench only 1 point for usefulness. But then I remembered you can equip your most brutal charms here and beat up our favorite banker, Millibel. That's what you get for stealing on my chair! Number 42, Ancestral Mount Bench. Basically the same as the other ones. You only come here once for your Vengeful Spirit upgrade, and that's it. And if you happen to die in the part where you are locked up, you respawn there anyway, so this bench is straight up useless. However, I like that everything is made from the skulls of all the people this guy has locked up. Very cool. Wow, hopefully you guys survived all those awful benches, but now we're going to the next 10, where the aesthetic and usefulness increases and have an actual reason to be sit on them. Besides just sitting on it once because you want to imprint your butt cheeks to every bench. I get it, that's just the Hollow Knight thing. But anyway, number 41, Dark Room Crystal Peaks Bench. Damn, look at that usefulness score. Oh, it's ugly now. Well, that's sad. This room is just black. I can't see. I literally can't see, man. But it's very useful in the sense that this is one of the only 2 benches in Crystal Peaks, and it is so conveniently right next to the entrance to the resting grounds, which is a very hard room to go through. Pretty alright bench. Number 40, Lake of Un Bench. Yeah, I lied, I guess. It's still pretty useless. But Cruel can be found here, and it's a necessity to sit next to Cruel. So, some usefulness bonus points. Number 39, Storage Rooms Bench. I was really surprised to see this bench add up so low, especially for a stag bench. But let me ask you the question, what do you do here? The only thing I do here is leave. Everything is basically outshadowed by the King's Station, and I always go there instead of here. So suck it, stag! Number 38, Salubra Bench. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a bench just outside the charm shop, just as the next guy, but that's basically it. Just sit in here, testing my new charms, and then I'ma head out. So a pretty middle of the road usefulness, middle of the road aesthetic. But yeah, that laughing gives me the creeps. Number 37, Mantis Village Bench. My guy didn't let me through, but now that he has respect for me, I'm gonna give him a little gift. Okay, let's see what's the so important thing behind this gate. It's a block. I mean, I guess you could use this for entering Deep Nest, but just saying the word Deep Nest out of my mouth makes me... Number 36, Nailmaster Motto Bench. Really sick room, like, I love the background here, really great aesthetic. But are you really gonna die in the Howling Cliffs? Are you really gonna die in there? Well, maybe to Gorp, but I wouldn't mind. I don't like down in cliffs. Get me out of here. Number 35. Royal Waterways bench. This bench is really crucial. It's perfectly placed in the middle of the waterways, so it's a really good checkpoint for this whole place. But goddamn, I don't want to listen to Flukes giving me ear-licking ASMR on 3 AM. Actually, it sounds kinda nice. Hey, where are you from? Got anything to do this evening, or I could take you out on a dinner tonight if you want. Love at first sight. Number 34. Failed tramway bench. So the problem with deep nest benches is that they're really handy because deep nest is so freaking big. However, I also got to leave this place, and whenever I sit on the bench here, I realize I'm gonna be stuck in this place with Joe over here. Please get me out. Number 33. Green Path Toll Bench. I mean, it's alright. There's literally nothing interesting to say here about this bench. It's just mid-tier. It's mid-tier. Number 32. Leg Eater Bench. Now this is a good bench. We even got some company. Oh no, I was not talking about him. I was talking about the guy I was sitting on. Because he is the bench. Wait, where even is this guy? You still here? Okay, cool. You survived. Those benches were pretty cool. However, now it's really starting to heat up. Benches that are placed in goated locations and aesthetics out of this world. But that's a little over-exaggerated for number 31. Crossroads Stack Bench. Hey man, I'm sorry for attacking you earlier. I just want to say that this bench location looks boring as fuck. Are you even trying? Damn, I mean the location is pretty useful for the first boss as Lubra, but damn, this looks ugly. Get roasted, bro. Number 30. Start of Green Path Bench. Oh my god, this place is so freaking beautiful. I just have to give this a 10 out of 10 for aesthetic, but it's so useless. I never sit there after I passed it for the first time, and that hurts me a little bit inside. So this bench is really saved by the aesthetic, but still a number 30. Number 29. Hall of Gods Bench. This bench is literally a 10 out of 10 when it comes to usefulness. Just switching charms whenever I need to for a specific boss is perfect. But sadly, this is just a dark room, and I don't want to sit there for too long. Especially with this sound. Number 28. Breda Bench. This bench is so crucial if you want to fight the Mantis Lords. The good thing is that it's fucking 500 miles away and you have to deal with 7 million mantises on your way. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. It looks pretty aesthetic though, I guess. Number 27. Start of White Palace Bench. Really good name, I know. Now, as we all know, White Palace is very beautiful and hard as balls. Like, so hard that you probably don't have balls anymore because of the millions of zombies. But this bench is placed right next to the beginning. So the only thing you'll need to survive is this White Knight over here before you already find the next one. And is somebody actually gonna die to this guy? Please don't say yes, please don't say yes. But even if you're so bad that you die to him, you'll be respawned right outside, aka not even 20 seconds away from the bench. So, yeah. Number 26. Teacher's Archives. Wow, this bench is only really good for the jellyfish looking ass, which is definitely really nice, but it's the only time you're really gonna use it. Looks cool though. Number 25. Hot Spring Deep Nest. I'm just so proud of Deep Nest for claiming such a high spot on this list. And this bench definitely deserves it. That moment you think Deep Nest was never going to end and you're so lost, and then you just fall down and scream like a baby. And then just at last you see this nice safe hot spring and you can actually breathe for a little moment in Deep Nest, which is a rare occasion. And even Coral is here. Number 24. Above Stone Sanctuary Bench. This bench is just placed in between a lot of important places in Green Path, like Stone Sanctuary, the Hunter, the entrance to Fog Canyon, and of course, the hardest boss, Massive Moss Charger. Let's just take a moment to appreciate him. Okay, that's enough. Number 23. Hive Bench. Who else thought it was kind of funny how the bench was stuck in the honey? Yeah, me neither. I hate the hive as much as I hate bees zooming in my ear, like. But sadly, this is the only bench in the hive, and there are some big kahunas out there waiting to kill me, bro. So I can't deny that this bench is pretty handy. Number 22. Broken Vessel bench. Now this bench has a goated placement. Never have I been able to access a boss just so fast. Unless you're that kid that fell down the pit again. I can also appreciate the aesthetic giving me some peace and quiet instead of fluke and bee sounds. Hey, you guys still alive? Or yeah? Because we got 21 more to go, let's go! From this point on, every bench is just very goated, so I'll give you a moment to go to the toilet and refill your snacks. Okay, time's over, let's go! Number 21, Crystal Guardian bench. My guy is just too fat to even let me sit on one molecule of this bench. So naturally... But yeah, this bench is really good. It's in the middle of the Crystal Peaks, plus it's right next to another fight with the guy we just beat up. Don't worry guys, he's enraged because he's going through the 5 stages of grief before accepting that he's fat. Number 20, Queen Station bench. Hey, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for attacking you and insulting you earlier. Is there just any way I can make it up to you? Really? Nice. Well, I must give it to you. This bench is right in the middle of a lot of important locations. And it looks really nice. Except for you! Oh! Number 19. Pantheon Hot Spring bench. I must admit that I almost never switch charms in between Pantheons. However, a bench giving me the chance to just take a breather between a lot of bosses and giving me all my health back is a very goated bench in my book. So yeah. Number 18. Temple of the Black Egg bench. It's right next to the final freaking boss in the game. What else do you need? Plus, you're probably going to come back here. Plus you're probably going to back. Plus you're probably going to come. Plus you're probably. Jeez. Plus you're probably. What the fuck? Plus you're probably going to come back here for all the different endings. So yeah, usefulness 10 out of 10, but the aesthetic is just very intimidating. So I can't take that, okay? Okay, number 17. Resting Ground Stack bench. Wait. I don't have an insult ready yet. Just give me a moment. You are so old that you're resting on the ground. Oh. Get it? Because you're so old that you die and then you lay on the ground. Okay. You know, this is just a really good bench, right next to the seer and close to Lemaire. Yeah, you know, I don't know why I'm acting this way to you. Like, I can't be disrespecting wise old people like you, especially when they're so old that they're resting on the ground. Number 16, Dirtmouth bench. Of course this bench is this high. It's Dirtmouth. What else do you want? Dirt in your mouth? Will we even survive without this bench? Buying and equipping new stuff right here, next to 3 boss fights, 2 of which are goddamn hard as balls, and of course all the great people hanging out here. Except for you, I should have left you when I had the chance. Number 15. What's your Spire bench? You'll need this. You'll need this bench. You will need this bench. You need this bench. I do very love the cozy aesthetic here, by the way. Number 14. Hidden Station bench. A great addition to the Hidden Dreams DLC is the Hidden Station. How did I just notice that they both have hidden in their name? I'm so dumb. Oh my god. Anyway, this is right next to the White Palace and to the Abyss, 2 crucial places in the game. So the station was really desired. So to celebrate this great new stack station, we're gonna... Number 13. Nail Master Oro bench. He made it way farther into the list in comparison to his brothers, and rightfully so. Kingdom's Edge is very big, and to have a nice bench all the way out here is great. Especially for the journey to Quickslash, which can be really tedious sometimes with these big hoppers. And of course, the entire aesthetic of Kingdom's Edge is beautiful. Number 12. King's Station bench. This bench is a literal 10 out of 10 when it comes to usefulness. I used this one so many times. The Collector, entrance to Ancient Basin, the Nailsmith, Lem. All the houses over here, just perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's in the middle of everything and... Well, that's not... I gotta go, sorry. And now... the final stretch is here. the last 10 until we reach the number 1 spot. All of these benches come close to perfection, but only one will succeed. Starting with number 11, Queen's Garden Stag Bench. I didn't expect to meet you here right away. Oh, that's not important. I really like this bench, by the way. It in the middle of the gardens, great for the Trader Lord and the flower quest. And it looks really beautiful. No, no, I can't. Sorry. Number 10, Green Path Stag Bench. Why are you following me? I must admit, this place is really worth of the top 10. It looks amazing, like every bench in Green Path basically. And it's really good for the first Hornet fight, which is mostly a very challenging fight for new players. You do? Oh my god, I thought that nobody understood me. You pulled the words right out of my mouth. So, for anyone watching that is not subscribed, please subscribe, let's go! Maybe. Number 9, Cornifer Queen's Gardens Bench. Underrated bench. This bench is not only placed right after a tough enemy room, but it's also placed before some tough platforming. And there's just a giant king's idol in the background. That's just epic. Overall, great bench for number 9. Number 8, Coral City of Tears Bench. This is a classic. This is probably a bench that everyone remembers from their playthrough, and rightfully so. It's so iconic. You're locked up in this new area, one of the biggest areas, one of the main areas, and you are in so much trouble. But then, when all hope is lost, you see your good friend Quirrell telling you about this amazing city ahead of you, watching the rain drip down on the glass. This is an easy 10 out of 10 aesthetic, and Quirrell, thank you so much for the memories. Number 7, Cornifer City of Tears Bench. City of Tears just has great benches. This bench is placed so perfectly, close to a stag station, right next to the Soul Sanctum. In my opinion, one of the hardest areas in the game, keeping in mind that how early you get into the City of Tears. Plus, this bench has a great shortcut to the Soul Sanctum, right next to the Soul Warrior boss fight as well. And of course you get a map here, so just overall an amazing bench. Even if you're really good at the game, you probably just need to sit on this bench just to refill your health, or just to look at where you are. Number 6, Above White Palace Hop Bench. Don't you dare insult my bench naming. This bench wasn't really necessary. It's like right next to the previous bench. But oh my freaking god. This location is so beautiful. Look at this. But sadly though, it couldn't make the top 5 because the bench isn't really that useful anymore because of number 5, White Palace Hub Bench. Now this bench is ballin'. It's literally ballin'. There are some very tremendous parkour sections coming up, but this bench has your back. This is one of the only times in the game where you actually want to try out some different charm combinations to survive as long as possible, like Deep Focus, Grub Song, maybe even some Lifeblood charms. But yeah, a really good and beautiful bench, preparing you for all the buzzsaws ahead of you. Number 4, Kingdom's Edge 10th Bench. Hollow Knight is a game that takes place underground. If you didn't know that. And except for the Howling Cliffs and Dirtmouth, you will spend the entire game there. And sometimes I just want to feel like I'm outside again. In the game, of course not in real life, I don't want to touch grass. And that's exactly what this bench provides. A beautiful tent in the middle of the snow. Well, I thought it was snow, but let's not talk about what it actually is. It's not only beautiful, it's also right next to a really tough and crucial boss fight against Hornet, and completing it gives you the King's Brand, something you need to complete the true ending. Although I think we can all agree that you only use this bench for the boss fight, so it's just shy from the top 3. Number 3, God Home Bench. There it is, my boy! It isn't the number 1 spot, but it's definitely a very good one, proven by the amount of videos I've recorded here. Like 4. First of all, looks really beautiful of course. However, the elephant in the room, the usefulness. Like every God Home bench. Except for you. I hate you. You'll have 4 pantheons, each with a different set of bosses and a perfectly placed bench for you to switch your charms. Combination doesn't work? Well, just switch on this bench and try another one. You can only switch your charms 1 time in the whole pantheon, so it could be hard figuring out what works and what doesn't. So a well-deserved 18-point bench, but 2 benches have beaten this one. If you've been keeping track, you will probably know what number 1 is after I show you number 2. Colosseum of Fools bench. This bench has the perfect Colosseum atmosphere, the faraway sound of a screaming crowd watching the battles, mixed in with the big groaning soldier sounds. Perfect! Just like the pantheons, you'll have different trials to complete. The bench could especially come in handy because you don't know what you will be fighting, so you might need to switch your charms a number of times. Trials might even be arguably harder than some of the pantheons, especially since each of them ends with a new boss you've never fought. And the rewards after each trial is really great, so you'll definitely be coming back here a lot of times. Very deserved number 2 spot. And now, for number 1, the best bench in the game is none other than number 1, the best bench. Every time I reach this bench for the first time, I want to sit here for hours. This bench is so good that it's the background of my phone. Yes, the bench at the far west of Queen's Gardens has a 10 out of 10 aesthetic. Look at this aesthetic. The flower, these flying dummies, and probably the best part, the phonograph. Damn, I'm probably the first person in the world to say phonograph for the last 5 years. But the phonograph will play the Hollow Knight bench theme as if it's coming out from the actual phonograph. As for the usefulness, this bench is not only right after but also right before a hard section. After you've parkoured your way through, there will be an enemy gauntlet waiting for you, which could be pretty tough if you're not prepared. And after that you'll need to make your way all the way through the Queen's Gardens to get to the stag station, which is a really long journey. It's also right next to the better entrance to Deepness, bringing you immediately to the Beast's Den. You know, the place with the worst bench. It really came full circle here. You could argue that this bench doesn't deserve a 10 for usefulness, but it's placed in the middle of some hard sections, where every time you die, you'll get sent back here, which is not even a punishment, because this is the best location in the game, period. And that's why it's also the best bench in the game. And I think we've all learned a lesson in this video. It doesn't matter how useful or pretty a bench is, every bench is unique in its own way, even the bad ones. And it's one of the small things that sets Hollow Knight apart from the other games. But I think the real lesson we've learned is that you should never rank 51 benches and then write a whole script about every one of them. I'm never doing this again. 100 likes and I'll do this again for Silk Song. Anyway, that will be it for my first video this year. Sadly, school's still busy, like always, so I can't work as much on videos as I want. But I'll definitely be keeping up the grind set, so expect some great banger videos coming out this year. I'll definitely be putting out some great stuff for you guys. Like Xbox set, Silksong will be released this year, and if it's finally out, we're of course gonna play the game. It's gonna be so freaking hype. Yeah, that's it for now. This video is way too long. Have a good one. Bye!